Okay, the City Council shall deliberate and act on proposed resolution 1832 as both the governing body and City of St. Helens Urban Renewal Agency. I now call this regular session to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, visitor comments.
Al Peterson, you know where I live. I'm also on Shedco, and Shedco over the last 3 or 4 years has done community art projects. We did the Before I Die wall in the plaza, and then we did the dog walk project, which a lot of people may remember, which was in the plaza as well. And I wanted to remind everyone, Joan Youngberg is not here today, that the opening ceremony for the This Is Us project is tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And this is, for those who don't know what the This Is Us project is across the way in the Rose Garden of the courthouse is the project, which was Joan Youngberg went around the community, and her goal was to get people to paint 5,000 little houses. I don't know if she got actually 5,000, but she came damn close. And then she and her husband and other volunteers put together the houses all in the sculptures that you see over there. And the opening ceremony is tomorrow at noon. But I do want to say one thing to the City Council. I hope you're all there. I hope you all go. I think it's going to be a very nice event. I think that the sculptures are very nice and say a lot about this community. And if you look at them, if you assume that she got her goal of 5,000 little houses, those 4 little sculptures were produced by at least a third of this community, which says a great thing about the project and says a great thing about the people that put it together. And I hope that every public official in the county is there to applaud Joan in the project. I think that the City Council needs to think about something in the future when projects are like this are done, because I personally feel that project should be dead center in the plaza, like the Before I Die wall project was and like the dog walk project was, rather than shoved off to the side. And I think you need to think about that in future. Thank you.
The reason it's where it is because we're going to be having Christmas festivities in the plaza.
Yep.
And I have been aware of this project since the beginning. Jenny and I have both been advertising it, and I know I'm going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Joan's done a great job.
I painted a house. Other visitor comments?
Howard Blumenthal, St. Helens. I just want to say I'm a little bit shocked sometimes at how we have a clock for 5 minutes and people go on for 6 to 9 minutes. And then I would have loved to have refuted some of these things, and yet you gave people a second chance
I
to come up
apologize
in
for
front of the
that.
microphone.
It wasn't
So I
supposed to be.
find that very disturbing that we have a clock. It's for a reason. Thank you.
Thank you. Noted. I will start
I
using
agree.
the gavel. You get your one chance, that's it. Okay, come on up.
Tammy Magro. I just like to, thanks for letting me speak here.
Yeah.
I just want to encourage everybody, since Thanksgiving's coming around and then pretty soon Christmas, that open up your wallets and donate a little bit. There's a lot of people in this community that are hungry and would love to have a turkey dinner. I've been buying a lot of groceries, and so I get a turkey. I just see somebody in the grocery line that has kids or something, and I just give it to them because I don't really like turkey anyway. But I think that, you know, we're a good community, and it doesn't hurt us people that have a little bit extra to help those in need that don't. And so I just encourage it, and I encourage the Toy and Joy and donating for the Kiwanis for the food baskets and everything. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Tammy.
IGA has an excellent $20 meal. Other visitor comments?
Brady Preheim, 195 Clark Street. So I want to address comments that were made last week by both Destiny Ryder and the City Council regarding the issue between Shedco and St. Helens, and sort of the attitude that the city wants to separate from Shedco and maybe vice versa. I don't think that's a good plan. I think the city needs Shedco, and I think Shedco needs the city. However, I do think that Shedco needs transparency, and I think that before you make the decision to terminate that relationship, rather than sort of chastising Mr. Brown on maybe his social media contacts with Shedco, that you should actually instruct him to write a letter on city letterhead requesting copies of their minutes and transparency, and that if then that's not provided to the city, then you should say that we're going to terminate it. But I think it's worth maybe one more attempt to try and build that bridge. But I mean, you know, Shedco has sort of created their own black eye. They have violated their own bylaws. They don't have a real property owner on their board, nor do they have a person involved in retail. So they're in violation of their own bylaws. So they need to correct that. And they also have claimed that they shouldn't provide minutes, which I disagree with. I think any organization that has public meetings should in fact have public minutes, and that should be common. In addition, they get public funds. They've gotten funds from the city, they've gotten funds from the Columbia River PUD, they have gotten several times public funds, and when you're doing so, you put yourself under additional scrutiny of getting those funds. They also have chosen to have someone who has been convicted of felonies on their board, and that person is the public face of their organization. So when you put somebody like that on your board and they become the public face of your organization, you are going to be subjected to additional scrutiny. That's just the fact of the matter is. I'm not saying that anything was done wrong there, but I think those minutes should be available and that the city should get it and say, if you don't, then we are going to terminate that relationship, because I do think that they can do useful things. But there are questions that I have about Shedco, which their minutes would provide, and I've asked directly for their minutes as well. I know for a fact that the chair of Shedco did a rendering for Ixtapa, and then, not Ixtapa, El Tapatio, and then that was picked for a Main Street project. Did he recuse himself for that vote? I don't know. That's some of the things the minute would say he should have. I also know that there's another project for storefront beautification that his mother's building was picked. And again, not that there's anything wrong with that, but did he recuse himself? And those are the things that the minutes would provide. And if they cannot have that transparency, then I think that there should not be a relationship. But I do think it's worth one last time officially trying to request those minutes so they have that transparency. And of course, once the city gets it, it will be public record and anyone can have access to it before you terminate that relationship.
Thank you.
Can I respond?
Other visitor comments?
Can I respond?
Yeah.
Al Peterson, chairman of Shedco. I received notice from someone on my board that there was a Facebook post where your city finance director said he requested public records request. I sent him an email and I copied you. I provided the ORS that pointed out that Shedco is not I believe the term in the ORS is public subdivision, but you have a lawyer here. He can look it up. We are not a public subdivision or a government subdivision or whatever the hell the term was. We are not subject to public records requests. So
I actually inquired about that because I wanted to know what was going on with the Shedco Main Street grant that was awarded, because I don't know that it's been used, and I wanted to find out. That was $100,000 that was awarded, and I'm curious on the longevity of that grant.
well, it seems like the city has been doing a lot of discussion about Shedco without even inviting the Shedco board to show up. Was there a discussion was there a discussion last week at a city council meeting about Shedco that we did not even know about?
You know what? I'm
Only
not gonna
because
go
Shedco
here.
showed up.
If we want to do this right here, right now, I'm going to take Brady's advice. I'm going to ask you for minutes. You had Shedco members show up with your personal email and your Facebook account, okay? Whether
It was not, so the discussion was not on the agenda. The discussion was not
on
published.
comments.
Okay, and,
It was visitor
So,
comment.
that's
okay,
what
so,
what I-
number two, Mr. Brady has accused me just now
I can't.
of
Yeah.
some kind of a conflict of interest. Number one, the Vanetta and Peterson building was applied to the city for a historic grant, just like everybody else is allowed to apply for a historic grant. The city, I was not even involved in the discussion because the city granted that grant, not me and not Shedco. So
I don't
that,
think he was questioning that. Was he questioning?
Yeah, he did.
yes, he did.
Okay.
So that was a city grant that was granted by the city. I did not have any contact in that. I did help prepare the grant. So that has, one, nothing to do with Shedco. So I don't know, why that is an issue. And that was all public information. If he wants to get public information, he can come down to the city, or he can go to the state of Oregon and talk to SHPO. Because SHPO is the one who granted the grant. And Jacob knows all about it.
He's more than welcome to do that. I'm not. I'm
So,
only speaking on the city's behalf. As mayor, I asked for a copy. I wanted a copy of the minutes because not only did you.
I did not receive. I did.
As a chair,
I did not receive your request.
we do not work with nonprofits. What you stated in a debate,
I did
I
not
want proof
receive
that-
your request.
Susan. I wanted proof that Susan was attending those meetings. That myself and Councilor Locke attended those meetings and trying to rebuild a relationship with Shedco. And I also
And every time you showed up, you caused an
Main
argument
Street-
in the board.
Did every time we showed up? Did we?
Yeah, you showed up
The only
three.
time we had an argument was when I asked
There was a
them
lot
if
of
they had
people at
read
the
their
annual
bylaws.
meeting. There was a lot of people at the annual meeting, and I
I don't
thought
think
Yeah.
they have.
Abby Cheney, every child was there, if I recall, and a bunch
Yeah.
of other volunteers, potential volunteers. that
Right,
you had.
and we spent 40 minutes discussing with you all
So,
kinds of issues.
I was there.
I know.
Okay, so, and I don't think I was controversial, Al.
So in any case, the public record request came over a Facebook post, evidently. I received notice of a Facebook post, and I reached out to your finance director, whatever he's called, and he responded. And I told him, we're not a public subdivision.
So the long and short of it, where are we at on the grant?
And everything, the truth of the matter, it was political. And your staff should know they're not supposed to be getting involved in politics. I think there's an ORS statute on that.
The long and short of it is, where are we on the Main Street grant? What is the process?
This
Can
is
you report on that?
the first time I have received any request about the Main Street grant.
Okay, can you
Today.
bring us a report? Next meeting or the meeting after? On the follow-up of the Main Street grant and where we are at to date, because that's $100,000. It's no joke for this small town.
Right.
And there was
Well, I can tell you right now,
there was 3 applicants. Okay. That
there were
qualified.
6 applicants.
Yeah, there was 3 that were actually met all the criteria, if I recall.
We'll let Al finish.
There were 6 applicants. It went through Shedco's board.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Brady said that I did do drawings, and I did fully disclose that to the Shedco board at the time. In fact, I was not in favor of the El Tapatio frankly. I didn't think we would win the grant because it's not a historic building, and usually SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office, kind of implies a historic building. So I told the board when we had our meeting, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think we're going to get a grant on this one, but the board, I was not the only board member at that meeting, and the board elected Shedco, El Tapatio. So that's what happened at the board meeting, and this is almost 2 years ago. So, I'm just going off of memory, but if you want to get other board members and talk to them, go right ahead. Number two, when Jasmine left, Jasmine was the grant coordinator. She left town. She asked me to work with SHPO on the grant. Okay, so the grant has been sitting there, and it's a reimbursement grant. So El Tapatio will not get any money for that grant until they actually build something. So the grant is still sitting at the state of Oregon waiting for El Tapatio to do something. Okay, El Tapatio, initially, the grant was for $100,000, but the building expansion that they want to do is in the range of $300,000 to $400,000. So they had to go get financing, and they had difficulty getting financing. I've made 2 reports to the state of Oregon, which is what I'm required to do under the grant. And if you want to call, or if Jacob, since he knows them down there, he can call them and find out what the status of the grant is. But basically the status of the grant is no money has been given to anybody because no construction has been done. The second thing that happened after they had a difficulty getting financing was, right now, it's very difficult to get contractors. So as I understand it, the last time I talked to El Tapatio was, hey, what's going on? Are you going to start building? And they said, well, we had a hard time getting financing, and then our contractor went off on some other job. So the last time I talked to Susan Baker, who's one of the El Tapatio folks, Susan Baker said, well, in theory, we're supposed to be starting in November or December. So that's where the grant stands, but the money won't go through unless they can actually do something.
Do you know if there's an end date on it? That's my only question.
There is an end date. It's like a 3-year grant, and I don't know the exact dates off the top of my head.
So they probably.
But I notified them. That say, hey, if you don't do something, you're going to lose this grant, and they know that.
Okay.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to report on, and also to prove that we do actually care about nonprofits, because it was stated
Well,
we don't. And
if you wanted a report, why didn't somebody
we
notify me and ask me to come in and do so? I have received no emails from the city regarding this issue.
So I would like to just state that it's very hard when you go onto your site to make a request. It was. Me and Keith went there just trying to figure out where your meeting was when we started going to meetings.
Everyone knows who I am. Jacob has my email.
And you know who
Susan
I am,
Collins
so-
has my... I didn't know you wanted it. How am I supposed to know you want a report when no one tells me what you want to report? How am I supposed to know?
I guess it's vice versa. When you're asking stuff, the shoe's on the other foot sometimes when we're almost neighbors here. You're more than welcome to come in.
So I'm supposed to come down and say, hey, what do you want to know?
So,
What do you want to know?
now,
Am I supposed to come down here monthly and say, hey, what do you want to know?
okay, so my point being, though, is there was 3 that were qualified for this, and is there a chance to get it to flop over to one of the other 2? The one was IGA, a building that was going to be constructed across from IGA, and the other one was Elliot Michaels building right here. Is that correct? The 3 that met the criteria, if I recall, because I think I attended that meeting, and Susan was there as well. And I've had a pretty long relationship with Shedco and have tried to work with Shedco
If
and showed up
defaults, would
a number of times.
Is it one of those things that goes away, or would it go to the next qualified applicant?
I doubt it, because what happened during the grant was that Main Street, it's a Main Street revitalization grant through the state of Oregon. it required that the grants go through Shedco, and then only one gets sent to the state. They only allowed one request from each Main Street program in the state. So the one that was chosen was El Tapatio, and that is the only one that
Okay.
submitted an application to the state of Oregon. And that was the only one that competed against all the other Main Street programs in the state.
Okay. That's
So,
all- that's-
so I doubt
that
it.
answers my
Well,
question.
thank you for,
Yep.
thank you for clarifying, because a lot of stuff gets thrown around in the heat of political.
Election
garbage.
campaigns, when
Garbage.
city
That-
staff is doing campaigning,
Excuse me, I didn't do any of that, and I didn't endorse
you're
any
not
of
staff
that.
either.
But the point is that the situation, I'm gonna touch on it because I know it's public comment, but I can see that it's bothered you. When you're attacked, it bothers us too, and I appreciate that. But my comment is to what Mr. Preheim has said, is the relationship has become so toxic that the interactions that I witness are so upsetting that you want to avoid them. And so that's probably why I've never asked you for a report. And when I see you in the community, I ask the questions to you directly that I have for you directly, and I get my answers directly.
Exactly. And
Because-
no, I have received no emails. I knew nothing about this discussion
And I think we can
evidently
all-
2
we
weeks
can all do
ago.
better. Just, and somebody earlier in the testimony is we can do better. You know, at being civil, at being professional, and being that way. And I hope that I conducted myself with you in all our dealings. You know, we've disagreed before, but I've always tried to be at least fair and hear you out. So I apologize that you were, felt attacked. I appreciate the clarity. I knew it was the CLG grant, or I knew it was for the facade. We've done them for 5 or 6 years. I knew the process. I knew you recused yourself. I knew those details, but it had never come out here before. So I'm sorry that you felt that way, and I'm glad at least you got a chance to clear the air.
Yeah.
And you answered the only question I had. Thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to say that I didn't want you to leave here not feeling heard.
Well,
And because I appreciate the clarification, because I didn't know anything about El Tapatio. It was just magic. I didn't know anything about that process. I didn't know about the grant.
the process,
We've had other representatives of Shedco in frequently, and it's been a difficult.
Maybe,
well, I
Okay.
can understand,
We don't
I
need to crack that
understand
egg
the
tonight.
difficulty. I sometimes have difficulty with my board as well.
Yeah, we just don't need to
But-
crack that egg, but we just
Yeah.
want to let's just be civil.
Well, I just
all.
don't like saying, I don't appreciate when I find out secondhand that there's been a whole discussion evidently at city council about Shedco, and
We
I
did
never
not
knew about it.
initiate that.
So,
no, and it was
It
me.
came up
doing-
in visitor comments.
yeah, it was not intentional at all.
Yep. That's exactly, it was,
Well-
it came with your personal email, Al. They came with a personal email from you.
But
The
that-
email,
yeah, it was
Oh.
Destiny came in
Destiny-
with copies.
Okay.
that was the
Yeah.
email that I sent to your finance director asking about
Yes.
the public records
so I
request,
was
and I
clarifying-
informed him, but it had nothing to do, nothing to do with El Tapatio. This is the
Right.
first time I've heard about
That's
it.
a separate
Had-
issue that's brought up
There
today.
was-
We didn't talk about
There
that.
was two.
No.
That
two
we
things.
didn't discuss it. It didn't happen. Yeah,
El Tapatio?
did
No,
not happen.
Our
last week.
discussion is just with you. We didn't have this
Yeah.
discussion previously.
No, now, whatever, I oversee administration, that's my department. And
Okay.
if I want to ask my finance director to get me minutes, because in a debate, the guy who debates me says, I'm not friendly to nonprofits, and I want to prove that I was there. And
What kind of debate?
it was
What kind of
it was
debate?
It was on the record that you.
The Chronicle
The
Forum.
Chronicle
The
debate.
Chronicle quorum is one, not on the record,
Al,
and
I'm not
two,
gonna
it's
debate you.
politics.
Al, I'm
So
talking-
we're
I'm not
talking
gonna
about,
debate
you're
you right
bringing
now.
up, and your
I'm
staff, you are using your position and your staff for politics,
No,
for
I'm not.
gaining political position.
No, I am not. I am proving, because we are supposed to
You're
be.
talking about a political debate
Al,
that is
I'm
not
here-
on the
I'm
record, that
here
is
to
not in
debate
city
you right now.
council.
Your bylaws, according to Destiny, what she wrote in here is we're supposed to be working together, and that you guys are actually supposed to provide us with minutes, what she read here last week. by the way.
I don't know what she read.
Okay, well, you should probably look at the Main Street packet that she gave us back in 2015, where she highlighted and quoted something out of there stating that we're supposed to be working together. And we do work together. We paid for the RARE program person. We helped you write up the grant for the $100,000. I wanted to know where that was, what the status was on it, because $100,000 is no joke to this small community, okay? It's a big deal.
Okay, so
And
then
I
why
also want to
didn't,
prove
why didn't
that
somebody
I
ask
was
about
at
the grant?
3 meetings. The December, that did not happen, and there was only one reporter there, but her name was Julie Thompson at Sunshine Pizza. I was at your annual meeting the next January.
So we're talking about a year ago now?
We're talking almost a year ago.
Okay,
If we have all the answers we need, can we just
Yes,
move
yeah, we're good.
move on?
Yep.
okay.
So, any other visitor comments?
Something about civil discourse?
Well, here's the thing. That grant that you guys are talking about right now,
Yeah.
it's coming up again. I've been working with the state of Oregon.
$3 million this year.
Oh,
They're going to be
okay.
awarded.
The portion that could be awarded
Double.
to me could be up to $250,000.
Yes.
I'm even getting the money all gathered up so I can do my matching I have to. Not that I know I'm going to get it. Obviously, a lot of people probably want it. But in order for that grant to even be able to go through, SHEDCO has to exist and has to work with you guys. Or all of that goes away. And we're
Actually-
looking at a month or two of, like it's coming right up. And don't think that kind of money, obviously in my theater or any other building, it's huge, because the point of the Main Street program is to make more business down in a certain area that then brings more people down. So it's supposed to just kind of, snowball into the fact
It's supposed to be
that-
economic development, and Main
So
Street's supposed to
Shedco,
follow
you're
there.
right, you need to get along. But, there's a lot on the line of not just, please get along. That's it.
Thank you for your testimony.
Okay, other visitor comments? Okay, here. No, gonna-
We can get it on a schedule with a time allotted, because we're already an hour late, but we can get it a real time when we're actually having time allotted for SHEDCO.
But I would like to hear in the future.
Yeah, it's not that we're not interested, it's just people are sitting waiting for the next agenda item.
they definitely are. Okay, any other visitor comments? Okay. Resolution number 1832, a joint resolution of the City Council and Urban Renewal Agency of the City of St. Helens making certain determinations and findings relating to the authorizing of sale of the approximate 8.21 acre parcel located at 1300 Castor Road within the City of St. Helens and located within the City Urban Renewal Area.
Mayor, we should back up a step and convene the joint meeting
Oh,
with the
yes,
renewal
yeah.
agency.
I'm sorry. All right, let's convene. I totally missed that. 'Cause it's, okay, let's convene the joint meeting with the Urban Renewal Agency. Okay, now, resolution number.
Yes.
I was just going to point out that counselor or board member Locke has now recused himself.
Thank you.
Again, just so it's
Yep.
apparent on the record.
Okay. Okay, resolution number 1832, a joint resolution of the City Council and Urban Renewal Agency, the City of St. Helens, making certain determinations and findings relating to and authorizing the sale of approximately 8.21 acre parcel located on 1300 Castor Road within the City of St. Helens and located within the St. Helens Urban Renewal Area. So, we had lots of testimony on this. We have been very transparent through this whole process. It's been a long, drawn-out process, I will say that much. There has definitely been enough advertisement around it with lawsuits that were filed, and right from the get-go to meeting with CSET and having Brian Little sit in on these meetings, and being very transparent within our staff too. It took off out of here like wildfire. I know that for a fact. Nothing is really too secret around here. People have been aware of this for quite some time. And so I just want to make that clear for the record that it has been very transparent through this whole process. I got to look at for me personally, I'm going to speak on a little bit on, and then I'll let the counselors, and I got a bunch of stuff jotted down, but to date, there are 33 states that have this medical. Marijuana is medical in 33 states. I do believe that is a fairly high number that I understand it's not up to me to run a business. We did not legalize marijuana. The city council did not legalize marijuana. The voters of Oregon legalized it first and foremost medically years and years ago, and then a year and a half ago or whatever it was, 2 years ago, it became legal for recreational purposes, and it follows all the OLLC licensing. I would also like to, I got a bunch of stuff just jotted down. Location is the furthest away property, and yes, it is a brownfield, and yes, it is a complete sterile environment. These guys, just because of the testimony, there'll be concrete pads. They've got it all figured out. OLCC is very, like the attorney said, their laws are really, really good concerning this stuff, because we had to look into that too. The concerns about the children getting this, our children, I don't know about you, but my neighbor grew 4 plants this year. I don't know if you have any neighbors that did, but I smelled it for about 2 months. And my kids knew exactly what that smell was. And I have teenagers, okay? And if they really wanted it that bad, there was plenty of marijuana growing around the county. In Upper Columbia City, I mow yards everywhere. I seen 3 houses in Upper Columbia City growing marijuana, folks. We're talking high-end $500,000 homes, okay? And I'm sure there'll be plenty of testimony for that. That's where I would suspect if my kid was going to get it would be from that, not a grow down on an industrial grow down on mill property. But I could be wrong. I just want to state that's where I would start looking first, would be whichever neighbors or whichever friend's dad was or mother was growing marijuana. I would look there first if my kids ever got caught smoking marijuana. But kids are kids, and kids have been drinking and partaking in stuff for a long time. I do not condone it, but it just is it's the nature of things. I by no means condone it. Okay, jobs. These guys are willing to pay $30,000 to $40,000 a year, a salary of $30,000 to $40,000 annually. If you would, if approved by this council, I know that Doug Knight will be running the facility. If anybody is interested, if it does get approved tonight or in the future, that he would be the man to be talking to about getting a job. Listen, there's been a bunch of testimony here tonight, and all very heartfelt, and I can make that claim, just that same claim about if it was Budweiser wanting to move in. If it was Budweiser wanting to move in down there and pay us $3.5 million, I could come up and do the reverse on you and tell you exactly what it does to teenagers, how it kills people, how it does a number of things. But if it was Budweiser that offered us $3.5 million for that property, and we as a city said, no, we don't think so, you'd all in here have us recalled. But that's okay, because alcohol's been legal for a long, long time. Coors Light, Busch Beer, any one of them, we said no, we don't want you here. Think about that. So that's my testimony.
We have an industrial park going in that area. This is an industrial use. It's a controlled environment. We've been working on it back and forth for a couple of years. We met the hearing criteria, and I think all in all, we all want what's best for St. Helens, and this is an appropriate way to use industrial property for an industrial use. Regardless of how we feel about marijuana.
It's a bitter pill. I haven't made secretive about my dislike for marijuana and cannabis industry. Cancer survivor, lots of people tried to push cannabis at me, tried to push CBD oil at me when you're faced with cancer diagnosis. I appreciate the other input that we had, not tonight, but a few weeks ago, about the city's liability and protecting our assets. And we did, as a counselor, I gathered a lot of information from that meeting, and those questions went to bear, went to our legal team, and were incorporated in the sale agreement. Protecting the city, I was concerned personally because anybody knows that any business can fail. Any business can fail. No matter what you're selling, a huge percentage of business that fail. And my concern is if somebody's building us stuff and they decide to back out, who protects the small businesses that are doing the wiring over there, that are building the building? If somebody just decides we're out, is the city on the line for that? And just making sure that was part of the purchase and sale agreement, because I wanted to make sure that at the very least that we'd come out better than we were before. I didn't want to lose anything. I feel like as an elected, it's my job to be a good steward. I may not like every business on Main Street. I've made no secret of that. There's a lot of businesses I wish would go away. But that's not for me to decide. That's for the market to decide. You know, if the market decides there's too many people growing pot, they go away. If the market decides there's too many bars on Main Street, they go away. If the community decides we've heard Hit Machine too many times, they go away. You know, I mean, whatever.
Can't
it
have
is.
too much Hit Machine.
Whatever it is, you know, America's built on voting with our dollars. You vote with your ballot, you vote with your dollars. If you don't want Walmart to be in our town, you don't shop there. If you don't want cannabis here, you don't shop there, you don't support it. As somebody that doesn't support the cannabis industry, I support people that adhere to the law. And the law is that the city is now getting compensated, and there's a second resource officer going into our school. The pot has been in the schools for a long time, and now there's finally money for the police department to do some outreach and to help these students and to help these schools with education, money that we didn't have before, because alcohol didn't give us that money. And it's like, you know, it's like you kind of look at sometimes you have to have really bad things happen, and you hope that you learn something out of it. And the thing I've learned on council is that it's not about a yes or no. It's like, because I've been part of all of the cannabis hearings, because I am also on the planning commission, things that we can govern is time, manner, and place. The voters said it's legal. That's not for us to decide. It's up for us to decide that you can do it in this zone. You can do it in this time. You can do it in this type of building. But when you decide that someone can't have a business, whether it's pot or alcohol or porn, you're violating their civil rights, whether I like it or not. It's not for me to decide. Part of my freedom is allowing Rick to get mad whenever he wants to get mad. That's part of his freedom, is that when I want to get mad, that I get to get mad.
It's my turn.
So that's, I mean, that's the bitter pill. And I just want to assure you that I don't support cannabis. I don't support CBD. I think it's bad. And I think it's up to me to make sure we put things in the contracts and things in the law to protect our citizens, to protect us in the contract, to protect us with the legal rights. That's what our job is as good stewards. We are policymakers and we are lawmakers. We are not moral judges. That's not our job. That's your job. That's your accountability, is to be responsible with your own life and the life of your children. I just hope that we've made good decisions as far as the time, manner, and place, and protecting us legally. And all those questions have been answered. I can't even tell you how many times I've sat one-on-one with John Walsh saying, what about this? What about this? Show me this, show me this, in the last 3 months. And to the point of the appraisal, we all had it emailed to us, so we had not seen it in physical form,
Right.
but we had seen it. We had known of it. But it's like when you're looking at your appraisal on a device like this is not the same as looking at it in front of you. At least not for me. I'm old school. I gotta see the paper. So I just, I want it to go away, and I want it to be family wage jobs over there, but I don't have that kind of pixie dust to make that happen. So, I mean, I hope that things will work out great, but if the business goes down and the property ends up getting improved as a result, and a better business can come in and take its place, and the city's protected, I can live with that. And so, I mean, that might sound like a negative, yes, but protect us for the worst.
Okay, I couldn't have said it any better. Thank
So,
you,
that's
thank
what I
you. So, let's go ahead and vote.
Did Susan have comments?
Nope,
Susan
I
didn't have
I did already. Mine were just very brief because I appreciate what you said. I agree with what you
Yeah,
said.
I had multiple conversations with Jacob, multiple conversations with John.
We have all spent
because
a
I
lot
have
of
to
time
sleep
in
at
John's
night.
office.
I have 2 teenagers in high school. I have to know what it's like. I have a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old in my life.
Well, I think that's just,
And I have to be able to sleep at night and know that I did my best.
I would love to protect my kids from everything,
Yeah,
I
but you
mean,
do your best.
Yep. So,
So I move we adopt resolution number 1832.
I second it.
okay, motion's been made and seconded to adopt resolution number 1832. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. Okay, now we're going to adjourn the meeting of Urban Renewal Agency and continue with council meeting.
I have a point of order. Can we talk about urban renewal in a regular session?
Yes,
Okay.
but we cannot conduct business under the urban renewal unless it is, but we can talk about it
We
anytime.
can talk about putting an item on the agenda for next time?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, we sure can. As long as we're not doing the business, we can talk about
Yeah.
putting anything on the agenda. Okay. So, approve and authorize for signature. A request to reconveyance for CAT loan payoff of 155 Michael Avenue, Bork. And B, contract payments.
I'm going to recuse myself from item
This-
A because I'm the chair of the CAT board.
Okay.
It's a real
Why'd you even
friend
show
for
up
you
tonight?
today.
I don't know.
Shouldn't you have just-
I move to approve and authorize for signatures, items A and B as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve 5A and B as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consent agenda for approval. A, library events assistant job description.
Would you like to do something, Keith?
Yeah. You want-
What is, I'm sorry, we did not have a work session today, so could somebody elaborate about that item?
Margaret?
Yes. The, this job is a grant-funded position that would exist from December through June in support of STEM education activities that our youth librarian is organizing. And the funding would come to us through the ESD, and we expect to be able to implement that program and those activities.
Is this for this year?
Yes.
And do you have to go out and hire somebody?
Yes, but it's going to be a most likely a high school student. It's
Okay.
a part-time position that would help the
Okay. I just thought whenever we're doing a job description, I wanted to know a little bit more about it.
right.
It's in the pack.
Our youth librarian wants to come before the council in December and give more detail. She's working with the STEM hub coordinator at the ESD for the Northwest Regional District. And our library and the Columbia River Maritime Center received the funds to be able to do this kind of hands-on education. Ours targets elementary school kids for after-school activities. It's very much of what she's already been doing with the Make It program, but it caught the attention of this regional director for STEM education, and she wants our program to serve as a pilot for development of this type of curriculum that could be replicated in that same
And
Tri-County
this is
area.
school district wide. You don't have to have a library card for this.
All of our programs are always open and available to anyone.
Okay, I just want to clarify that for the record and for people that you don't have to have a library card, because there's
No.
much of St. Helens School District is not in the city limits of St.
No,
Helens.
we always, all of our programs are open.
Okay, I just want to make sure people know.
Yes, and Gretchen will have a whole lot more detail. We want to get on to the agenda
For next time.
No problem.
probably on, well, actually, I'd like it to be on the 19th if we are going to have that meeting, because she's going to present to the library board a couple of days before.
I would love to have that meeting. I'd love to see
Yeah,
Gretchen there.
Well, she might bring some of her gadgets, so it'll
Cool.
be a
Good.
fun meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 6A.
Second?
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda 6A. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, no, boy, what a long night really for such a short agenda. I would just like to make a few remarks. That the sale of this property is vitally important in order to get the industrial, in my opinion, and this is just this mayor's opinion, to get that industrial property developed and ready to go. It's the topography there is rolling rock, and it has no infrastructure. And this is one key essential a way of funding it, because it's nice to have all these ideas. I would love to do all kinds of things for this city, but show me where the money's at. How are you going to get there? I got all kinds of great ideas. And we're not selling out, but I would just say this is one step. We've had 4 different businesses prior to this, a molasses company. I know the council has heard other proposals from businesses that I've looked at that property and said, doesn't look like, Cascade. They could have built that big
Yeah.
plant
Part
down
two,
here,
Cascade
204
Part 2.
acres. They wouldn't even have to truck it, but it's not ready. So we are moving forward. This is a $3.5 million decision that we made tonight. I will speak on the little bit on the grant, which because Jenny Dismo drew that up, and we had a few other plans with that, but that build grant for the food bank, that's another $1.5 million that's coming to our city. No matter how you look at it, we are opening up the Sand Island to looking at partnering up with another public partnership on the island. We got the rec program going, and you brought up a great point, Jenny. This helps fund part of rec, and it's going to actually the impact tax is going to pay for that school resource officer, and very, very important. We already took our little bit of budget that we had extra, and we took it and we invested in our kids instead of all these other plans that are all there. They're ready to go when we have the money. But we took at budget committee. I don't see Leah here, and I don't see anybody else who's on
Who's got a
budget
budget.
committee other than us.
Running our business.
But we decided that we are going to invest in our kids. We care about our kids. We paid for an extra school resource officer. We gave Margaret a little bit more money towards the library because that's kids. And we started the rec program because that was kids.
Collaborating with the school district.
Yes, collaborating with the school district, yes. So, that's going, and and just a lot of little projects that we're doing some things, and it's happening, and nobody likes change, but the times are changing,
aren't they? So, you know, our little town's not so little anymore. We're going to be number 40 out of 241. We are 41 right now, but we are growing faster than number 40 of population of the 241 cities in Oregon. So, that being said, and I love this little town. I heard we're always bringing in dirty industry or settling, and I just do not agree with that. You know, if you want to say Cascade paid a lot of family wage jobs for a long time, and we're left with the remnants of that. But we don't talk bad about it, do we? Because we are locals, and we know what it did for this community and how it funded this city, our county, and everything else. You know, it's very easy to sit over on the other side of things, but I admire our port and our county commissioners and what the city of St. Helens has got going on. We sit here and we take it on the chin, and we try to make the best decision, because no matter what it is, somebody's going to have a problem with it. That's all I can say. That's my observation as a citizen that's lived around here for quite some time. So maybe if we started rallying together and partnering, which I'm trying to do, and actually get more minds on it and more bodies behind it, and let's get this county, this whole community, this OMEC is huge. OMEC is a huge thing. And it's going to be innovative. No doubt about it. It's in Scappoose. It has to, if I had $30 million to invest in that property down there at Cascade Tissue, then let's talk. But I don't.
Anyways.
And that's state money, free money. Yours, mine's money. I mean, let's get real and be realistic. I'm not going to sit here and debate. I'm trying to talk, give my report here, and I'd appreciate it if people in the audience would not disrupt me. So, yeah, that being said, I love this community. I love this small town that's growing, and everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, spending it with their family. So let's go with Councilor Locke.
I finally get to talk. And I can talk about whatever I want because the vote's been done. So the reason I was recused myself from the vote was because when this council came on, we didn't have anybody to look over the property. I worked for Boise Cascade, so I was familiar with the property. I actually did not vote to buy the property. But the real story is Boise did not donate that land. We are paying dearly for that land. That land, it's public record. We traded all the garbage in that lagoon that they put in there for how many years, Sue? So 60 some years they've been putting stuff in there. We had a contract with them that they were responsible for emptying that. That's what we traded, plus $3 million. The reason I didn't vote for it was because I didn't think we should give them $3 million. I thought the crap was enough. But I did volunteer to be the property manager over there for this council, and they appointed me that. I had my limitations because my wife worked for Cascades Tissue. She retired about 4 months ago. But I know most of the people over there, so I have a relationship with them, and I get along. The other part is yes, I kind of helped this ACSP come into the community. I've been working with them. I did most of the negotiating for the contract, so that's why I recused myself from all this. I have voted on one night when there was only 3 of us here. I did vote just to keep the process going down the road. Other than that, I've always recused myself from voting. So, being said that, I'll talk a little bit more about me being kind of passionate about this. I'm a cancer survivor, 21 years. I'm not supposed to be here today. I smoked marijuana, and it helped save my life. Today, I'm involved in a drug called CBD, which actually comes from the hemp plant. Not so much the cannabis plant, but the hemp plant, which they're brother and sister. So anyway, that's my big thing, and today it's helping a lot of people. It could help eliminate the opioid problem in this country, which is the biggest problem today. I hope I'm right on that. And I know I've been doing a lot of research on it. There's possibility. These guys, the owners, the 4 partners, are very into trying to develop CBD for medical problems. They want to get with OHSU, do research, everything. So the other thing, I'm very adamant about kids. I started a youth council down here. Jenny helped me with it. I'm very adamant about helping kids in this community. I tried getting a teen center for years, couldn't get it off the ground, so I started a youth council, try and get some of the youth involved and whatnot. That was my #1 concern when I drew up the contract. When they start producing, every license they have, after the 6th month, will start paying us $1,000 a month for a 10,000 square foot building. They can put 15 10,000 square foot buildings on that property. That's 15 times $12,000 a year. If they expand beyond that, you do the math. So, besides, I'm the police commissioner, so it was safety, education, and parks. The parks actually got added because Doug strong-armed me a little bit on the parks. But the safety, because I'm the police commissioner, we're down 6 policemen now, Joe? Something like that? Since from 2009? So, yeah. We've gone 10 years and we're down 6 policemen from where we were almost 10 years ago.
With an increasing population.
You do the math.
Aren't we at the levels of 91? Or are we're lower than 91 because we've lost some officers. Than the amount of officers we had in 91.
Right. Well, I got hired in 98, and we had more then than now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm a little passionate about this and whatnot, and why I've been kind of pushing the project. And not only that, being the property manager over there, Rick spoke some about this because he's been keeping involved in this. Love Rick. Best thing that happened to this council. We cannot develop that property as is. These guys are helping us develop that property. We've taken actually 6 different companies over there. This is the only company that saw something over there and wanted to help us clean that place up. And we don't have we can't even hire a person to go over there and manage it. I have to do it as a counselor. It's not my job, but I volunteered to do it. I've been spending 20 to 30 hours a week just on that property for the last 2 years, trying to get it up and running. There are a lot of issues that these guys don't even
Keith,
know.
I want to say before that, though, before these guys, because you're the only one that had knowledge of that property when I showed up.
Well, this project actually started 2.5 years ago. That's when this project started, 2.5 years ago. So, anyway, it's a lot of stuff. And the other thing is, we talk about communication. I don't think it's been a big secret that I've been behind this because I've been getting the target on my back for a long time now. And my telephone number is all over the place. I've never hid it anywhere. I've had it in the front page of the paper, my personal email, everything. Not one person here tonight contacted me about information. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, Counselor Locke. Counselor Carlson.
I always appreciate when lots of people come out because I learn lots. I learn a lot from you guys. I've learned something from every single person in this room that's testified and in the past. So I really appreciate the civic involvement. We're a stronger community for more participation. So I appreciate that piece. Just thank you, Jacob, for coming and doing a extra showing of your planning expertise and helping shepherd us through this project and kind of answer our question and make it a little less scary. But on a better note, for me anyway, the Youth Council has been selling reflectors for kids to keep them safe walking back and forth to school for about 3.5 years. And the kids decided last week that reflectors sitting in a tote aren't saving any kids from getting run over. So they are going to put a reflector on every first grader in the school district in St. Helens tomorrow. So the kids, before they go to high school, before they go to middle school, are going to go to grade school and give reflectors to all the first graders. So I'm pretty proud of them deciding to give up that fundraising opportunity because they wanted to make sure all those kids were safe. And so I'm just real happy at the group and the growth that that group has taken. Lots of good stuff coming up in the community that will happen, you know, in the coming weeks. Bazaars, nonprofits are doing lots of great work. There's lots of opportunities. Ms. Maker spoke earlier about just, you know, when you have extra, we need to share. And that's part of what makes this town is so great. Is it was just so wonderful this last Saturday raising walls at the Habitat House and seeing the big turnout at the Veterans Memorial inauguration of the new Veterans Plaza expansion. It's just been really great. And all the work Joan Youngberg has done, and there's just, you could make a list, a double-sided sheet of paper of all the community champions we have. And most of them aren't elected to anything except for loving their community. And I think that the appreciation for all their hard work doesn't go said enough. That's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Khan?
So, well, Keith's been working on that project for about the last 3 years, actually. I've been working on crisis intervention training for law enforcement. It started out as a collaboration that we pulled together that was law enforcement and corrections and Justice Department and mental health providers. And they're teaching de-escalation techniques and as a way to keep both officers and the public safe, intervening safely in where people are having mental health issues or when they're in crisis. And so, as I have for every other training, we're having another one first week in December from the 3rd through the 7th, and I'd like to ask again for a budget of $400 to provide meals for these officers that are going to be taking the training.
So
or
moved.
up to that amount.
So moved, the continuing of the supporting the CIT training.
Second.
Aye, aye. Anything else? Is that it?
Nope.
Okay.
We got a motion and a second.
Oh, I thought we were voting. I said aye.
Oh.
Oh, all those in favor of giving her 400? I thought we could just, it's out of our council funds. We can just say a head nod on that, can't we? But let's make a motion been made and seconded to approve $400 for CIT. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right, department reports. Lieutenant Hogue.
Yes, as I mentioned last week of the meeting, our Donut Day is approaching, and that will be again on December 8th. And I am surprised to see that this is our 16th year in doing Donut Day. And that, of course, is a fundraiser for the food bank, where we take cash donations and, of course, canned food. And we have all kinds of stuff going on at the police department, police station. Live music, and Santa Claus will be there again this year, so I hope everybody can go. But I'd also like to, for the council to consider making a $400 donation to the Donut Day for the purchase of the donuts, if we could do that.
So moved. If we're doing it that way.
All right.
I'm not going to second it because I'm the police
All right.
commissioner.
Can I second stuff? Can I second
Sure.
stuff as a mayor?
If nobody else does, you can. Yeah.
Okay. I'll second it. Okay. Motion been made and seconded to approve $400 for donuts for the officers.
No.
Well,
It's a fundraiser.
wait, I might have one or two.
It sounded a lot better.
All
For
this money
Donut
goes
Day-
to the food bank, by
For
the way.
Donut
Right.
Day. Yes, for Donut Day. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Sue?
Hi, I have a couple of things to address and ask some guidance on. First, at the last meeting last week, there was some concern expressed about the safety of the intersection here at South First and St. Helens Street. So I have contacted Kittleson and Associates, who is the firm that did the traffic or the transportation safety plan or the transportation system plan. It's late. It's way past my bedtime. And also did the corridor master plan and is currently working on the riverfront connector plan. So they're very familiar with the city street system, with the downtown development plans, with basically the city planning.
As long as they didn't do the Gable Road and Highway 30.
No, they
intersection.
were not involved with
Okay.
that project whatsoever. That was quite some time ago. I don't even think that company is functioning any longer. But regardless of that, that's a whole nother subject. So I asked them to put together a proposal to do a study at that intersection. So they've provided that proposal to me, and the next step, if council is wanting to continue to move forward with that, the next step would be to negotiate a fee with them based on this proposal to do a thorough study of the intersection, to make up to 4 different recommendations of improvements at that intersection, and then come to a council meeting and do a presentation. They anticipate that study and putting together those different 4 different potential proposals would take approximately 4 months, starting in January, assuming that we move forward and get a contract in place with them by the first part of January. So I want to know if that's still something that you would like to move forward with, and if you would like to see us putting together a fee and bringing that to the council for approval.
I have a question.
Yes.
So a lot of that intersection is not going to change, even in our urban renewal, is it? When we start doing all that.
Oh, the whole thing will change. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Corridor plan. That
The
already
corridor
was-
plan
That's what-
has a recommended plan for that.
So this will be a piece of the corridor plan.
Yes.
so this will actually be. I don't want to engineer something that doesn't meet that criteria.
No, they are the ones that put together the plan, so they're
Okay.
very familiar with what the recommendations for that are. But they will also, especially because that particular intersection, number one, it's the main entrance into the downtown from
Yeah,
Columbia
couple of-
Boulevard, St. Helens Street, etc. So it's a very major intersection there. It's also very strangely geographically laid out with all different kinds of roads coming in there. It's exceptionally wide. You know, we all know the issues there. So there's a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration. So that's why they want to do a more thorough study of that intersection, look at what potential improvements can be made to improve based on the recommended plans on the corridor plan and the transportation plan,
Good.
etc. But before we can get to that point, I need to know whether I can continue to negotiate with them to get a fee for what this is going to cost to put together the proposals, the 4 different options, and then they will have some very rough cost estimates, and then be able to tell the council the pros and the cons of each one of those. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What would be the advantages, and then what's going to be the disadvantages?
So we're not
of
talking a
doing
whole. I mean, it's not a huge fee to get the general.
it
presume?
it shouldn't be a huge fee. It's definitely going to be a cost, but
There'll be a cost, but it's towards something we were going to do.
it's going to be towards something, yes, that will happen eventually regardless. So it's not wasted funding. It will eventually be put into, some sort of implementation plan.
Sure, do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully I will be able to work on that and get something to you. I'm hoping the first December meeting, but it may not be till December 19th, depending on the availability of the staff at Kittleson. So, okay, that's
So
yes,
that's going to take 4 months.
yes,
No.
sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
not to get the
To
contract
do,
with them,
just
but
to
to do the
do.
study and for
Right.
them to put together the different options and because
Right.
yes, that's correct.
And then it could take 4 months, a year, 2 years to do something.
Well, it depends on what it depends on what option the council
Yeah.
would like
I've
to
been in
move forward with.
Government for a long time.
But we'll have
Certainly.
made a start towards
There
it.
would absolutely be additional time because there's going to have to be,
So-
depending on what option,
This
Then-
is another one of my pet peeves that I'm very passionate about.
and that's
And-
why I
and
put this together
I
in
go down
less than a
here-
week.
I live here.
I
I
understand.
go down here every day, not necessarily the last couple of months, but before that, for 35 years, been watching that intersection and cringe daily.
That's
I-
why.
I-
That's
and
why.
we've been putting off this for years now because
No one's trying to put this off, Councillor Locke. That's why I'm trying to move forward on this as fast as possible.
This is a start.
Well, before, and Terry, Chief Moss had a record of hardly any.
There's been zero
No,
accidents.
no, that's not.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways,
Talk to Joe.
Well, Terry looked into it at one
Well,
time, I know.
and regardless of I know there's been stuff happen here because I've been there when stuff has happened. I've witnessed it, but I've witnessed a million near misses.
And that's one of the things that will be taken into account when
And
they
that's
do
why
the
I want
in-depth
it
study.
done. I've
Okay.
been
Agreed, but they
banging my
can't-
head for 6 years now. I want it done.
we're gonna let her do
So
it.
nothing can be done in that short a period of time. That's why they need to do the study so they can come up with the appropriate options for the treatments and the improvements of the intersection. If it's done too quickly and improperly, it's not going to help anybody in the long run. And it's certainly not going to complete the whole downtown image that we want.
Yeah.
So it does need to be done correctly if something's going to be done at that intersection.
I agree with the image, but I'm talking safety.
And that is one of the things that they will be, that's the highest priority of the study, is to look at what the safety improvements can be done at that intersection.
You know, I'm moving. I could just say, I really don't give a shit, but I do.
Yep,
I give a shit.
we understand, Keith.
And that's
Even
why
though
I
I
put
was-
this together, sir, for you
That's
in less
why
than a
I
week.
motioned that it happens.
Even though I was a no vote, I still feel you, brother, okay?
You're going.
I just,
Sue,
hey,
Hey, can she carry on to her second
Can
part of her
let her
report?
finish.
Go ahead, Sue.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you want to move
Yes,
forward
yes,
with this.
you got to go ahead.
Okay, so I will try to put that together as quickly as possible and get it in front of you, and I will negotiate with them and see if they can cut down that timeline to less than something than 4 months. That's what was in their proposal. That can be negotiated. We
Thank
will
you.
see what we can do about that. The second item is that today we received proposals for the implementation of Phase 1 of the wayfinding signage. This would be actual posting of wayfinding signage within the city, mostly along Columbia Boulevard, with a kiosk down here in the plaza, adjacent to the sidewalk on First Street.
Nice.
These were received by Jenny. She obviously is not here at the meeting this evening, but asked me to request one of the council to help us review and score these proposals. We received 3, unless one came in right at the last minute that I did not receive, but we did receive 3. We would like to meet next week, early next week, to review these, and we were hoping to get somebody from the council to meet with us and go over the proposals and help score so that we can work on getting a contractor to start making some signs and putting them up.
I think there may be a 4th one in my mailbox.
Is there 4th? Okay.
Yeah, there may be. Yeah.
So 4 proposals. So is anybody interested in doing that?
I'm being distracted by all the yelling out there. I'm sorry.
I will if
totally
nobody else wants to.
apologize, Sue.
That would be
I was-
fantastic.
As long as it doesn't run through January.
No. Again, I have copies. I don't have the fourth one, so maybe we can get that to you tomorrow. But I've got copies of the other three here and the scoring sheets.
Okay.
It'd be great if you'd have a chance to go through those, and then Jenny and I were planning to meet on Monday afternoon. I don't know if you're available.
I don't know.
If not, we can certainly work out another time that would be more convenient for you, and get together and go over these proposals and try to pick a winner.
Monday at what time?
2 o'clock.
Okay, I have a meeting at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
But I could at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get you one of these tonight.
Okay, thanks.
And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Neil?
The only comment I have tonight is just to let you guys know that the Freed Farm logging operation is in full swing this week.
Nice.
I was out there today. There's a lot of timber down.
Good. Margaret?
I've probably mentioned several times this year about the joint project with the Scappoose Public Library on our shared catalog. And this past weekend, we completed, or started, I should say, the first phase of that project. And this weekend, there will be another phase. And then Scappoose will come online in late December. In the course of moving our software to the cloud this weekend, there was a lot of post-implementation that drug on for a few days because there were a lot of coordination between our software vendor and the suppliers of some of our digital resources, like our e-books and audiobooks and our downloadable music. And so some of those hiccups happened, and we had a banner that ran across the city website saying that we were diligently working on that. And today it all got resolved, and so we're bracing ourselves to do phase 2 this weekend, which as far as I know, is going to be invisible to the public. But I would say that this project has a lot of moving parts, and I just really want to say during a period of time when a lot of people are sick, including people at the library, we have had a marvelous effort on our staff's part, and I just really want to call out the work of Nicole Woodruff and Brenda Heron-Kanega. They have really stepped up and done a lot of work that needed to be done to make this happen, and I just can't say how proud I am of our staff and how much effort they're putting forth toward this. We spend a lot of time in conference calls with Scappoose and the vendors, and it's a big effort, but I think it's going to prove to produce some real dividends for our community to be able to share resources and have that visible to our community. So I just wanted to tell you it's coming along, a little few hiccups along the way, but all things considered, it's really cranking along nicely. So I just want you to know we've got a great group over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt? Nothing? Lisa?
I do have something. The City of Rainier is hosting the next City County Quarterly Dinner Tuesday, November 27th, and today's the deadline to RSVP.
Oh, wow.
So I have Susan.
Yeah.
Be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there. Okay.
What date? Say
November 27th?
Tuesday, yeah.
27th.
Yep.
Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, put me down for that.
Okay. So
Where
if
is
you
it?
could see me afterwards,
Where is it?
I need
Rainier.
meal choices.
Rainier.
It's in Rainier Senior Center.
Okay.
But I can resend an
Want to
email.
make sure it wasn't like at the grocery outlet or something.
Oh, nice. It's a nice new building.
Anything else, Lisa?
I have a go back.
Oh, well, all right. Let me get through. I want Jacob to report.
Okay, just a quick thing. So there was a bill that was passed and enacted recently, which did several things that regards affordable housing, a big topic in the region, including St. Helens. And that has a requirement for certain cities, and St. Helens qualifies that we have a meeting annually to discuss the issue. The other thing it did is it provided funding for studies, and by statute, we're required to have a housing needs analysis, and we really don't have anything. But luckily, we were funded by the first round of this, and our first meeting, meeting the statutory requirement, as well as the kickoff meeting for this project, is before our planning commission meeting, probably at 6 p.m. on December 11th.
December 11th.
Is that a special committee, or is that just the planning?
No, the planning commission is going to be the advisory committee for
So
it.
we helped Cat do a housing need study.
But
Yes.
that was for the county. This
No, they did, and we provided that information to our consultants, which I think will be very valuable to them.
Sure.
Yeah, so we're not ignoring what Cat did.
Okay.
So it won't replace it, but that will.
No, it'll build off it for the specifics of St. Helens, and for something that we'll ultimately adopt, which will help us make some decisions. As Rick said, a lot of times you'll get socked in the chin and, liver kicked.
Yep.
And if you watch that kind of stuff.
How soon is this meeting?
And if you have this analysis, it's going to help make some of those tough decisions, like what zoning do you apply to a property. So that's all I have.
I just want to, thank you for all the hard work you do. You've been very, very busy. There's been a lot going on with the city. Not only does he have to review plans on bigger projects, little projects, every project, he also has to run these public hearings. And we have so much going on that I know that you have been worked quite a bit lately, and that we appreciate you because we don't get to see you that often.
Thank you. Yeah, 2018 has been
Yes.
quite a year.
Yep.
So,
Okay, you wanted to do over?
I go back as this will have to happen before we meet again. Normally you and Keith talk about it, but the city Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Is that on the list?
It's gotten. We got it. Me and Paul went up and picked it out.
Okay, just
It's
making
beautiful.
sure.
It's
well,
beautiful.
in the past, prior to you,
Yes.
it was a Neil job.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
Oh, me and Paul went up and scouted the tree farm, and
So just making sure, because I know that Neil's team helps out a lot out there with the changeover. It was meant a lot to get Halloween cleaned up and to get the This Is Us project out and give the park a chance to take a breath before we load it for Christmas. So it's just everything's really tight, and I appreciate all the guys' work.
Neil picks it. Neil puts it up and everything, but it's been Paul and I that have gone and picked it out. And so Rick he went out with us last year, and so now he's taking my place.
I'm taking
Nobody
over.
offered it to me. I'm a tree expert. So that was my only go back, as I hadn't heard.
Get
that
a
from
bus next year.
I'll make the
Okay,
peace.
before I adjourn, any other business? Yeah. Come on up to the.
My name's Martin Andrews Lynn. I live at 68 South 22nd.
Okay.
I recently purchased my first home there ever in July.
Mhm.
Approximately a month before that, my eldest daughter here from my ex-wife in Arizona had a nervous breakdown, and she was not supplied proper health insurance. After my house was purchased, her boyfriend offered to move her up here with him, and unbeknownst to me that Chapter 1780 does not allow me to have an RV on my property occupied. I currently have 6 people in my 3-bedroom house, not including her and him. And on weekends, when her eldest comes back from college who has Asperger's, that makes 7. And then we have school breaks, and she's going to be there as well. And it's going to make my house extremely crowded if they have to move in. Almost beyond so, between her depression and anxiety, her anxiety from a past abusive marriage. I was wondering if there's anything we can do.
There is a temporary permit for that, but
Jacob's
it's
right here.
Yeah, so you're correct. We do have some provisions in our code which limits it to, I think, don't take my word for it, but I think it's 2 weeks in a calendar year, provided there's no compensation. And
I thought we did something for medical.
we did. Yeah, we did. And that's been the case for a long time. Recently, we amended our medical hardship rules to allow RVs to be used for that purpose. And so that's the exception. There's a temporary use permit process and proof from a doctor that it's medically needed. But that's currently the avenue that we have. Now, some cities, for example, the city of Portland, I found out recently, just allows one per household. And that's a discussion. But where we're at in St. Helens currently is the law that you had mentioned, and then the medical hardship.
Right, and I was just hoping there was something we do. I spoke
I
to you on the phone.
I talked to him the other day, and I told him, it's municipal code, and I don't have the authority, and he had to bring it before the council, and I'm glad you did. Yes, this is how you get stuff. He has a
Even
deadline.
if I just do that 6-month permit to where, to get the garage modified into bedrooms is going to cost me at least a tenth of my paycheck, my annual income.
What did you?
For permits and
Did you
everything
apply
else.
for a temporary permit yet?
Did you?
Not yet.
Did you just ask about it?
Yeah, I just.
Yes, he did, Jacob. It was just a couple,
2 days.
2 days ago.
Yeah, because.
Oh, okay.
and-
we should have a conversation offline.
Mary's being very yes. Have a conversation with him. Mary's being very thorough. Our new code enforcement. I think that's where this comes from.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
If I may add, my 4 kids all have special issues ranging from Asperger's to a vestibular disorder to ADHD. I have them constantly shifting gears with them. My house is very noisy at times, and I myself have PTSD and some severe anxiety issues. When she comes in our house, she cannot stay for long, and she often asks me, how do you do that? Because it's noisy. She's still struggling with her anxiety, whereas I have more of a handle on mine.
So, yeah.
Have you guys been to Community Action Team?
So,
Anyways.
yes, just a question for you. The trailer itself is not on the street.
No, no,
The 22nd, those are small streets over there.
I can show you
Okay, I
that.
know. I'm just asking that, and then.
But they can have a conversation with Jacob.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that we have given a little bit of leeway once before on this
Yeah,
issue.
have a
so
conversation with
It
Jacob.
is the holidays, so
Yeah, we can.
When would be a good time?
Um,
It doesn't have to be tonight. I mean, it's busy, you're
well,
late.
no, he has actually a date on his enforcement. So, if I recall,
But we can.
Yeah,
Can't we?
she came by 3 days
We
ago.
can give her
Okay.
30
Yeah.
days.
So-
I just wanted
we
to
can
understand the
fix that.
Yeah,
story
we can put
behind.
a pause on that.
We can extend that while you work with him.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
It's try to work with that's all I'm asking.
You can make sure that happens, Joe.
yes. Yep.
Lieutenant Hogue is going to make sure that there's a hold on that she won't come back because you're working with Jacob.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay?
And it may not be able to be a permanent thing, but we're going to make sure that we get
you
it
don't have
worked
to worry
out,
about when
and-
you're cooking your
and
dinner.
You know what?
Thank you.
I'm
Okay.
just going to say this. I think we
Yeah,
can speak
yeah.
for
Next
us.
week.
Yeah, and I think we can speak for us no matter what. I think we can worry about it after.
That's what I said. Don't worry about it with your Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Just
or Christmas.
give me a contact number before you go, and then we'll
Yep.
Just work with him.
Thank you.
chat.
Okay.
Joe, take care of that.
Do the magic.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'm glad I asked. Any other business? Okay, we're adjourned.